Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Star Trek stream. It's Saturday night, so we're back here to talk about the next two-parter in line, which is The Year of Hell from Season 4 of Voyager. And we have almost everybody today. We don't have a Polly, but we have a Hammer and a Skep Tock. How are you two tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Skep?
Oh, good.
So the Year of Hell is another, I guess you could call it time. They're not necessarily traveling through time, but it's another time-centered episode, or two-parter, I guess, wherein Voyager encounters an alien race called the Krenim, and they seem to find a particular Krenim scientist hell-bent on restoring the Krenim Empire to its full prosperity by changing the timeline over and over again.
You okay, Skep?
Yeah, I think Skep's putting his some headphones in or something.
I'm fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sounds like you're rubbing your mic on something.
Yes, I was. I was picking it up off the floor.
Oh, okay.
It fell onto a blanket. Sorry about that.
Well, at least it fell on a blanket and not on the
tile floor.
Yeah. That would have sucked.
Yeah.
So this two-parter is basically all about Voyager defeating this, basically, as Tom Paris calls him, Captain Nemo of the time continuum, and all of their adventures herein. Now, what did you guys think about this episode? As in total? What did you guys think as a whole episode? What did you guys think?
Well, Hammer go first because he's smarter about this stuff than I
am. Your microphone's underneath your nose there, Skep, or you're out of breath, one of the two.
Oh, okay. Move that away. That's interesting. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
I like the heavy breathing, but
yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's all good.
I'm figuring out how to use it.
You are coming in loud and clear, though. There is absolutely no roboting. There is, you're just trying to figure out how far away your mic should be.
Are you on a different mic?
Yes, I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the only way he won't robot.
Yeah, since I quintupled my bandwidth, now I have problems with roboting.
Really?
And I have spent the day adjusting buffer sizes, bitrate exchanges, checking specs of different drivers. Sucked to be me today.
Yeah, well, if you have some time after the stream, maybe I can help you out with it.
I hope so. That would be great.
As far as Year of Hell, this is another one of those Voyager two-parters that I think should have been a one-parter.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree with you on this one. Why do you think it should have been a one-parter?
The reason I think it should have been a one-parter is they spent a lot of time with Chakotay and Paris on the enemy ship.
True.
That really didn't... Skip, you're louder than I am.
Really?
Yeah, you might have to mute yourself until you have to talk.
Yeah, you're right.
In any case, yeah, there was a lot of banter, and there was the whole please join me on my quest storyline.
Yeah.
That I didn't think needed to be there. The other line was so full and so exciting and so action packed that I saw no reason for the whole courtship process for Chakotay and the back and forth with Paris. It was out of place. Didn't need to be there.
What did you think? What do you think, Skep? Do you agree or do you disagree about how it should be a 1 or 2-parter?
I thought it was appropriate that it was a 2-parter.
Did you?
Yeah.
I agree.
It seemed paced about right. There was some stuff that I didn't think was developed enough, and it almost could have been more than a 2-parter. I thought they should have developed what was going on the enemy ship more. So I didn't feel like I didn't understand the arc of Chakotay's thinking.
Okay, you didn't understand why he was sympathetic,
right,
to him.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think they could have developed that more. It's not that I didn't understand. I got it eventually. I think it would have been easier and more interesting if they had developed that more and had had some time to do that. So that felt squashed in a little bit to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really like these 2 episodes, by the way.
Yes, they're one of my close behind Scorpion. It's up there with what's up there with my favorite. And now your dogs are going insane.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's okay. You can't help it.
Please be quiet. Damn it, please.
So, what did you think about Janeway in these episodes? I know I told you would probably like Janeway a bit better, Skep, after you watched these episodes. Was I right?
Yes, I do. She's a much more interesting and much deeper character than what I thought she was going to be. I thought that she was sort of a placeholder, strong female. I was already too sick the social justice hex on her. But it turns out that she's actually got some kind of complexity to her character and really came out in these 2.
Yeah, I liked Janeway a lot in these episodes, and shout out to the guy that plays Red Kerwood Smith, because he was phenomenal in these 2. Kerwood Smith was awesome as a bad guy. That wasn't
as
really...
the assistant bad guy.
Well, because he wasn't. I don't know if you would think of him as a bad guy necessarily, as some guy that really fucked up and wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
But then he kind of got obsessed with fixing it to the point where it clouded everything. I don't think he necessarily started out as a villain type of guy. What do you think, Cameron? Do you think Captain Ransom was all bad, or was he did he have some sympathetic... Could you find some sympathy for him?
Well, people will do crazy things when it comes to a broken heart.
True.
So I had sympathy for him. I don't think he was an evil person.
No.
Deep down, I think he was just someone who didn't want to hurt anymore and was going to do everything he could to stop hurting. The only way to do that is to bring his wife back. So even with that 98.9 or 98.8% completion they got at one point, he didn't get his wife, so let's go again.
Yeah. And even then, and then his crewman was like, really?
Yeah.
You want to do it again? Right? That's when you could see his crew was starting to go,
Yeah.
At least his first mate. And I really like the arc they had his first mate take when he was playing chess with Tom.
Yes.
Where he smiles a bit because Tom does the same move that his brother would have done. And then he stops and thinks for a minute and goes, I used to celebrate his birthday until I realized he was dead. And that, like, you could just see him thinking, like, why am I still doing this? And it was a really interesting character arc, I thought, and it was really well written, I think. That's kind of why I liked the slower paced parts, because you could see, and I think Skep's right, if you had had a bit of time to understand the time ship crew a bit more, it would have been even more of an arc. If you know what I mean.
Can I bring up a point about
Sure.
what it constitutes to be alive?
Sure.
When people are killed off and then recreated in different timelines, is that the same person?
No.
I agree. I happen to believe it's not. I mean, if somebody made, I don't know why they would do this, but if somebody made a molecularly identical clone to the molecule of me, stood them up next to me, that would not be me.
No.
And it seems like that's kind of what was going on here with the destroying of worlds that never existed and then recreating them 98%, recreating them 52%, whatever it happened to be.
Yeah.
I just always thought that was an interesting thing to talk about. I don't know if anybody else has any
thoughts
about that.
Well, if you look, there's even precedent for that, because if you look at the episode Deadlock, where 2 Voyagers are accidentally created, and on one ship, Naomi Wildman, the baby, dies, and Harry dies. But on the other ship, Naomi and Harry are alive, but the ship that they're alive on is doomed to be destroyed. So Janeway sends them over to the other ship. Now, are those the same Harry and Naomi that died on that ship? Or is it just a copy?
I think it's a different person. It's a copy.
What do you think, Hammer?
Well, there's this theory that everything that can happen does happen in a different dimension. And as soon as a decision is made left or right, we diverge at that point from being the same.
True.
If I go right, as soon as I go right, the other part of me that goes left is no longer me. Because they'll have experiences that I won't have. The fact that Harry Kim is coming from another ship, the original Harry Kim would not have had that experience. No. So they are different.
And just like the Next Generation episode with the 2 Rikers, you had one William Riker that was split into 2 by a transporter accident, and then you had a second William Riker who was stuck on a planet for 7 years, gained a whole new experiences, then went off to try and serve on another ship completely, and ended up joining the Maquis. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched DS9. But they're definitely 2 different William Rikers.
Yeah, in fact, experiences don't agree anymore.
Yeah, in fact, the second William Riker took the middle name. He went by Thomas Riker instead of William. So he definitely became a whole different person, although he was technically a second William Riker.
Yep.
Star Trek makes you have some interesting discussions.
It's true.
It does. Getting back to the episode,
yes.
One of the things I was a little critical of was when they kept taking damage, and I don't think it was very realistic for what taking damage like that would be in space.
Mm. I mean, the fact that they had 3 minutes to fix the ship while the nebula gases were pouring into the
yeah, there's that.
Janeway's not dead in 5 seconds while she's in there holding her breath. You know,
we've got spaceships that are faster than life, so it's probably not fair to hold its feet to the fire in terms of realistic. You know, there's nothing realistic about it. That's the fun of it. It's fantasy.
True.
But that said, and the scene where she says, there's an old tradition about a captain going down with the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I've known a number of captains at sea, and they don't think that way.
It's very noble and romantic, but...
Yeah, that's strictly Hollywood. So that didn't ring true with me. Now that may be just because of my own personal experience. I don't know. What'd you think about that, Hammer?
Well, I mean, there was a tradition in the past. I mean, not in our time, but a couple hundred years ago, where that was a more common thing. That's maybe where she's getting it from. But you've seen it in just about every Star Trek series. At one point or another, the captain is always, you know, romantically the last person on the ship.
Yeah.
So it's not like this episode's out of line for what Trek is. It follows the same trope. So while Voyager is guilty of it, well, so is TOS and TNG, and you know they're all guilty of it. So I just say it's part of the lore of the series, and give it a pass in that respect.
I actually thought you would have had a bigger problem with the way Janeway reacted to Doc as trying to relieve her of duty.
My biggest problem is her hair. Her hair looks stupid in this episode.
Why?
It was short. It was kind of bob, but it had a big wing in the front. I was like, what the hell are you trying to do with your hair? She should have stuck with the Rachel. That was a better hairstyle.
So, yes, Skep, what did you think about Janeway threatening to delete Doc's program for trying to relieve her of duty? How captainly was that?
There are provisions in the UCMJ and in the Navy Officer's Guide and various other publications in the Navy for relieving the captain. If the captain is incapacitated, or if he's giving illegal commands, if he's doing something really, really wrong, a senior officer can relieve him. It's not usually a doctor that relieves him. It's usually a senior officer says, I'm going to relieve you, and then he gets a medical certification. He gets the doctor to sign off. A doctor said, you know, I'm going to relieve you because you're crazy. And the doctor signs a piece of paper that says, yeah, you're crazy. This is a good relief.
Right.
So I actually thought that had some realistic stuff about it in terms of the doctor. You know, that wasn't too hard a jump for me to believe that, you know, maybe it's the doctor who does the direct relief. I actually thought that was interesting and very well placed. I like that.
What did you
was
think
interesting,
of her
and of
reaction?
course she's defiant and just basically says "fuck off," you know.
Yeah, try it.
Which I also
liked.
Program. I liked that was one of the moments where I felt myself liking her more.
Yeah, and her apology too. Like she owned it. She's like, I've been thinking on instinct for so long that I didn't think before I spoke. I obviously wouldn't delete your program.
I really like that.
Yeah. What you think about I was interested to think about what you guys thought about the exchange between her and Chakotay with the watch, where she told him to recycle it.
That was bullshit.
And he obviously didn't.
You know, you can't take that much energy, you know, where it's a little tiny watch, okay? Well, they make lots of big things with replicators.
Well, and poor Chakotay is like, I replicated it months ago.
No.
It was before this shit even happened.
Right, yeah. So he kind of got his feelings hurt on that, and that was very understandable. So that made, I thought that's kind of cruel and cold on her part. Kind of completely,
Yeah.
it felt like she was tone deaf emotionally to him.
I think that's why they had that scene where she found it in his quarters, though.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I liked that a lot. Another thing that I liked was when the symmetry with her lucky teacup.
Yeah, and the shatters,
falling
falls
off,
and shatters.
Then the little thing with his wife's hair in it breaks also.
Yeah. Yeah, that was very good. That was very
artfully
good.
done.
Actually, I thought it was a picture of his wife. I didn't know it was
the lock of her hair.
A lock of her hair.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Shit. Oh, I think somebody was asking. Skep was in the Navy. What was his MOS? Says Cult of Crow.
Oh, I did not have an MOS. I was designated 3105, which means I was an officer. I was a staff officer. So I was trained as a line officer, a ship driver, initially at Officer Candidate School. And then I attended a 6-month school on top of that turned me into a supply corps officer.
And there you have it. So what was your guys' favorite part of this episode? Whoever wants to go first.
Hammer, go first.
I think the collapsing of the deck. I thought the graphics on that were really cool.
Oh, when the sickbay's deck blew out?
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting part of the thing. I gravitate towards the action sequences.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really well done.
Guys, you two are going to have to talk for a minute. I've got to do dog management.
No worries.
I'll be right back.
All right. So, my favorite part is when Janeway crashes Voyager into the time ship. But I think they could have done it without that cheesy Terminator line, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of good parts of the two episodes. So it's difficult to pick one out, but the show goes from, oh, they're no threat, to oopsie, they're a threat, to, oh my god, the entire deck is smashed, pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of it was the graphics of it, and part of it was the storyline of it. But to have that happen in such a quick succession left an immediate imprint on how the rest of it was going to go. So that was key for me for that two-part series, was seeing it turn very serious very quick.
Yeah, and I think the hard part for me to watch was the end of the first part, where Janeway's telling everybody to leave. I think Kate Mulgrew did a really good job in that scene. Because Janeway always swore that she would never break up the family.
Yeah.
And she had to break up the family. And Kate Mulgrew played that really well, I think. I think she did a very good job at showing the emotion of a captain who is almost in her brusque way become like a mom figure. Duck Dog says the mere thought of a spacefaring vessel that doesn't have an unlimited supply of energy and resources is ridiculous. Well, where are you going to put an unlimited supply of resources and energy?
There's a lot of things about this two-parter that bother me.
What are some of the things that bother you about this two-parter? Well,
I have a hard time with, regardless if it's a two-parter or just a regular episode. I have a problem with episodes that start off with a problem that gets progressively worse, and then bing, everything's fixed, end of story. And this is a classic case of that.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
I don't like that.
It is fixed rather quickly by ramming two ships together with
the best
the
of both
time
worlds.
shields down.
Yeah, this is the best of both worlds. The second half continued with the next episode, Family, and it showed how there had to be a recovery period.
Yeah.
And how the story continued, even though it wasn't a 3-parter. This is tied up neat in a bow at the end of the episode, and everything's back to normal. And there's a couple of Voyager episodes that do that, and I'm just like, oh, come on. You were mentioning the two Voyagers that were split, and Harry Kim had to come over. That's another one where suddenly everything's okay.
That's one that could have and maybe should have been a 2-parter, actually.
And there was another one where they had landed on the demon planet. And then the demon planet recreated another Voyager.
Yeah.
And you don't know until the end that it was a fake Voyager.
Oh, that's right. So Course Oblivion.
Yeah. So suddenly, it wasn't the real Voyager. That's real Voyager. Everything's fine again.
Yeah.
It's another one of those. I don't like those.
Because then you're sitting there going, well, which Voyager have we been watching for the last year and a half? Yeah.
I muted Skep because he was dealing with his dogs, so
yeah,
we'll keep an eye for if he comes back. Yeah, I'm not big on that. There was an episode of TNG that did the same thing. They were caught. It was called Cause and Effect. They were caught in a temporal loop. Yeah,
Tychon's Rift, right?
Right, and they get to meet the USS Bozeman and Fraser.
Yeah,
and then, but that's another one where. It exploded. Oh no, exploded. Oh no, exploded. Oh no. Oh, we just changed this one little thing and everything's fine now. Have a nice day. Yeah.
Free.
That was a bit of a stretch. It was the number of pips on his collar.
Yeah.
But we're getting off the subject. So yeah, that's another thing I have wrong with this episode. And did they really have to make Tuvok blind? Really?
I thought that was I maybe it's a bias, but I thought it was pretty cool that he could make the console tactile interface and still fucking. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They didn't.
It didn't seem like much of a stretch for me. He's a pretty smart guy, and it's quite far in the future. So
I didn't think it was a stretch, but I just thought it was kind of a cool adaptation. But I think maybe since they already did a blind guy on a starship, maybe they could have done something else.
Yeah, I just don't think it was really
like
necessary
taking away the Vulcan's hearing, maybe.
Oh, that would be novel.
That would have been fucked up.
The doctor can replace the eye of a Borg, but cannot do anything for a blind Vulcan. Yeah, I don't know.
If anyone could make somebody see again, it would be Doc.
Notice how I've matched the pigment of her eye to her natural eye.
Shut up! See, why does it have to be Beverly, the one that tells Data to shut up, and nobody tells Doc to shut up in 7 years?
Yeah, sexism, I guess.
Because and the way Beverly did it too was so petulant. Shut up, my son's gonna die. Instead of like, just Data, shut up.
Well, doesn't Troy give Beverly a hard time in sickbay when she loses her?
Yeah.
And the look on Gates McFadden's face was beautiful, man. That was about the best acting I saw in that entire episode. Was that look on her face? She looked like she was really hurt. We're off in the TNG again.
Yeah, I know. So, but what was I was saying something about Doc. Oh yeah, if anyone could make Tuvok see again, it would be Doc.
Yeah, I don't understand why that didn't happen. Come on. We're that far in the future, he couldn't have done something. Replication.
Hell, there was even an option for Geordi, wasn't there?
Well, Geordi couldn't see.
No, but Pulaski had said that see, here we go to TNG again. What the fuck? Pulaski had said that she had regrown eyes and transplanted them.
Mm-hmm.
And she had given that option to Geordi, and he was like, I gotta think about this. And they never, ever, ever touched on it again.
Yeah.
Until, what was it, Nemesis?
Yeah. Where he got bionic implants.
Yeah.
Not realize. I don't understand why Tuvok couldn't be fit with a visor.
I don't either.
It's not like they didn't know about the technology. Obviously, Voyager existed after TNG, so they knew that existed. So how long would it take to do that? I can't imagine it would take very long.
What did you think about how 7 of 9 fit in so quickly after her severance from the Borg into this disaster?
It was a weird part. I watched part of it. She's walking down the hallway with Tuvok, and her voice is not the typical 9 voice. Even when she disagreed with Janeway, it wasn't the arrogance that we normally see with 7 of 9 when she disagrees.
True.
There was, the 7 of 9 we're used to would say, "No, you're wrong." And she just said, "That's incorrect." It's very soft spoken, and she put up no fight when Janeway said, "Well, we're going to do it my way." I expected 7-9 to bang her hand on the thing and stand up and say, "Well, I'm not going to do it that way." I expected the petulance. And then she's walking down the hallway with Tuvok, and she's all, "Oh, I don't know what to do," and oh, geez, and I was like, "Who is this?"
Yeah, because you see in the Omega Directive, which is not 12 episodes later, where she's like, "Fuck you. I'm not helping you. I'm going to my alcove, and you are on your own."
Yeah. That is the 7 of 9 we know and love.
Exactly.
By the way, guys, I just realized I've been trying to talk into a muted phone.
Oh, dear.
Evidently, when you turn down the volume on this phone, it mutes itself if you turn it down past a certain level. It doesn't go all the way down, so I didn't think I was muted. I didn't even think to look. Then I realized these guys aren't being rude. They can't hear me.
No, we are secretly being incredibly rude. We don't want you here. No.
Yeah. I'm beginning to have strange feelings about that.
Well, I don't know about your phone or anything like that, but we could hear everything that was going on in the background, and I was afraid something personal was going to come through, so I muted you.
Oh, you muted me. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe the phone does do that. I don't know, but I didn't want anyone saying anything personal to come through on the stream, so I muted you.
Appreciate that. But,
just in case. So we're just talking about how 7 of 9 fit into this basically disaster scenario so quickly after she became severed from the collective. And Hammer was saying that she's a very different 7 of 9 than we usually see. She's very soft spoken, he was saying.
She's less hostile, that's for sure. At least that was what I picked up.
Yeah.
And
there are many more episodes where she is much more much more openly and much more strongly disagreeing with Janeway.
I'm right and you're not.
Yeah. You will fail.
Exactly.
Like just straight up. Let's see, what else was I going to say here? Hammer was talking about a few of the things that bothered him about this episode. Did you have anything that bothered you in particular?
Not the biggest thing was the going down with the ship. That seemed melodramatic and out of place. She is otherwise a very sophisticated person, and that just didn't fit in with the picture that I'm developing of her personality. That seemed a little bit odd to me. There's just so much about this episode that I really liked.
And
I love the ending. I love the ending.
So did I. I was gonna say, what did you what were some of the things that stood out to you that you really enjoyed about this episode?
Yeah,
other than the ending.
One of the best thing about it was the ending.
Yeah.
They lived happily ever after.
Hammer was saying that he doesn't like how it's wrapped up in a neat little bow, where everything was horrible, 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 and then boom, everything's fine again.
Yeah. Then I woke up. Yeah. I can see how that could give you that kind of whiplash, that emotional whiplash, where you're kind of accustomed to the tension of all the things going wrong and dealing with these people and so forth, and all of a sudden everything smooths out. I still didn't have a problem with it. By 2 hours of stress and strife, I was ready for some happiness, and that's what I was greeted with, and I was absolutely delighted by that. So it just felt good.
What did you think about the invention of the astrophysics laboratory? Because it becomes very important. That tool, that laboratory, becomes exceedingly important in future episodes.
And it was something that 7 of 9 and Kim put together, right?
Yes.
Which I really like, that these guys grow their own technology out in space. I think that's great. I think that's a great trope for the show to have, is that they invent technology that they need. Obviously, piggybacking on technology that they have with them. I think that is a great. It's not a big ask of the viewer to believe that, given what else is going on.
Yeah.
And it's just full of good possibilities. So, I like that idea. I liked it a lot.
I think Voyager did a good job on having the crew build on technology. Like TNG had it a bit.
Yeah.
You did see Geordi doing a few things on the fly. You know what I mean? But Voyager really took it to the next level with building the astrophysics lab, the Delta Flyer.
Yeah.
Doc's medical advances are again something that outclasses Beverly's hand over hand.
Right.
So I think Voyager did a really good job with that. What do you think, Cameron?
I think it was good that they were able to adapt to their new mission by creating things that they obviously needed to have, because in a lot of episodes, both 7 of 9 and that Borg that was created from the doctor's
one.
Yeah, one. There's always the line that our sensors are so much better than yours. You hear it from 7 of 9, you hear it from 1. He says, I can't do any more to your sensors. This is as sensitive as I can make them because your technology sucks.
Yeah.
It's nice to see them say, okay, well, we know that's an issue for us. So we're going to build an astrometrics lab, and we're going to include Borg technology, and we're going to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And when they found out that our shuttle pods just can't cut it here, well, we're going to create a new shuttle pod that is going to cut it here, that they are able to identify problems that they can overcome and then work to overcome them and come up with a solution. I like that. That's very much a 20th century kind of thing, but it's nice to see it implemented in the future as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Very well said. It's very, that was what I was trying to get at. What Hammer said.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the industry that the Voyager crew can put on. They're very industrious, and they're very and some of their inventions are just really freaking cool. Like, I would love a Delta Flyer.
Yeah, it also brings up some bad things though, because they run into issues that I think they could fix, and the plot line won't allow them to fix it.
That's true.
Slipstream drive would be one of them. If they were able to use slipstream drive for a period of time, but we had stopped because it was causing fractures of the hull.
Yeah.
Well, fix the fractures of the hull and use it again.
Give it a blade of hull armor like the Flyer.
Yeah, there are
give it Borg.
Where is your industrious nature now? What happened? So there, it actually pokes holes in plots and stuff like that. But I like this. I like to see the displays when it's actually put to good use.
I agree. I was talking to Hammer while you were gone, Skep, about the end of the first part of Year of Hell when they abandon or when Janeway tells most of the crew to abandon ship.
Yes.
And I think I was saying to Hammer that I think Kate Mulgrew did a really good job in that scene. What do you think?
Generally, I agree with you. It was a very well staged, very well written scene. It was, dramatic. It was emotional, but not. It didn't wallow in it.
Yeah.
It hit the perfect line of emotion, defiance, and this is not a defeat. We're coming back. We will be back.
Yeah.
And so I like that. I loved that the first episode ended on the abandoned ship. I thought that was just. I forgot how much I liked that. I should have included that in my things that I like so much. That was excellent, and it just made me want to really tear into the next the continuation of it.
Yeah, and I liked, like, maybe it's because I couldn't see the scene, but I liked the quaver in her voice when she goes, "I expect you all to be in one piece with some interesting stories to tell."
Yes, that was some interesting. You guys are going to get into some interesting stuff. Some of you guys are going to be picked up by freighters out in the middle of space. Some of you guys will be drifting in space, maybe for a couple of years in the stupid pod. We'll get together and hear all about it later on.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. That was totally something a mama would say to her kids. Yep. Like, you could tell that, as even though she's their captain and she knows she's their captain, it shows that she's come to care a great deal for her crew.
Yep. Yeah,
Kirk did it better.
Kirk did it better.
Kirk was a different type, though.
When he was shooting Spock's body out to the Genesis planet.
Yeah.
And he says his was the most human.
Yeah.
That part, you can't put a can. No one's going to beat that.
No.
Yeah, that wasn't overacted or anything. Just teasing. I love that scene, actually.
It was so out of character for him.
I gotta go watch Search for Spock, and I gotta watch all those. In fact, I think I'm feeling a binge watch of old Star Trek movies coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Get pumped up about this. Well, Blind, I guess we have a workaround, at least. Do you still want me on the stream on Monday? Or I understand if you don't. I didn't mean to bring that up here, but as long as I've got you on.
Before you make any decisions, give us some time to work on it and see what we can do.
I have faith in you. I have faith in you guys.
But I mean, if we can't, do you want me to? Is the phone satisfactory? And do you still want me on the stream?
Yeah.
Phone's fine. Phone works fine.
So let's see. What else happened in that episode? We had sickbay blowout. Oh, right. The scene between Tom and the doctor. When Tom is poor Tom in this episode. He's got to fly the ship. He's got to be a nurse. He's got to be an engineer.
And the doctor's telling him what a bad assistant he is.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Well, Tom called him out, right? He's like, "Physician, heal thyself." Right?
What's that supposed to mean? And then it's kind of we why don't you explain why you're being such a big asshole? And so the doctor turned around and said, "Well, I had to lock, two of our shipmates in a hall where I knew they were going to die so that I could save the rest of the people in the Jeffries tube."
Yeah. And then Tom's like, "Oh, Okay, well.
Yeah. I guess that explains it.
I suppose you can be a dick then.
Yeah. Carry on, doctor.
Yeah. But I mean, Tom was kind of getting a little bit, he was kind of ignoring his other patients because, well, his girlfriend was hurt. So, but I don't know. Some of the things I liked about this episode were little things, like in the second part where they get together, where the remaining skeleton crew gets together to eat Neelix's ration packs, and he tries to disguise it with a few spices, and 7 of 9 it is offensive, but sufficient. She's just the little crew interactions.
I did love the way she said it is offensive.
Yeah.
It is offensive.
But sufficient.
Yeah, Neelix can't buy a break sometimes.
No.
Considering the goop that she normally eats,
Yeah,
it was like...
Point well taken.
You eat really crappy stuff and you think, this is bad? Jeez,
Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nutritional supplement number 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a Big Mac.
No. Oh, now I'm hungry. Thanks.
I'm always hungry.
Yeah. Same.
I can't believe I missed Scorpion, of all things.
Oh, I know.
I was so heartbroken.
Well, I can't think of much more to talk about, so give us your quick rundown of what you liked about Scorpion, because we both wanted to hear it.
Well, the biggest thing was when Janeway says it at the end.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I used that in a tweet the other day where I think we were talking about Sandy Cortez, and someone mentioned that she said something stupid again, and I said she's a Scorpion, and the person said, "What do you mean she's a Scorpion?" I said it's in her nature to be stupid, which falls back to the show. It's it's in her nature to double cross you to be one of the Borg. So that's the whole point of Scorpion was all about, was that whole fairy tale where the Scorpion's on the turtle's back or something like that, and ended up stinging the fox, ended up stinging it anyway, and they both drowned. And the fox, we're both going to drown. And the Scorpion says, "Yeah, well, it's in my nature. It's what I do." So,
yeah, we both thought that was a ridiculous. Like, did Chakotay have to give that as a reason instead of a much better reason for Chakotay to give would have been, they're just going to assimilate us after our deal is over anyway. Why make it? Instead of, Borg's just going to do what a Borg's just going to do.
Yeah. He's an American Indian, so it has to be spiritual in some way. So
I guess.
Yeah, to tell his little story. But when she said, because I didn't know it was coming, we're not shown what they're planning on doing. So it's a bit of genius that they thought ahead about this and thought, okay, well, this is what she's probably going to do. How do we get around it? And then to name it just simply Scorpion, and the way Janeway says it, Janeway to Chakotay, Scorpion, that look on her face, I was like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Right away, I was like, I perked me up because I thought, okay, something's been done in the background that I don't know about, so it was pretty cool. I thought it was a little too, Annika, can you hear me? Think of the child. That got me a little like, eh. But when there's the side of her neck just started getting all electrified and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, bitch, you got it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Scorpion's my favorite in the line of two-parters from Voyager.
I know Jerry Ryan is pretty and she's built and all that kind of stuff, but I gotta say this again. She's a really good actress.
She is.
She's really good at this. I was like, I don't know why I should be surprised. Just because someone's attractive doesn't mean that they're an idiot, but well, I guess most of most of California celebrities kind of fit into that role, but so I shouldn't be. I guess there's some legitimacy to my surprise, but I just didn't really know much about her until Voyager, and I've seen her on other shows now, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she really is good. But I was surprised at how well she played that role.
She did a very good job, I think. I think, despite her soft spokenness when she disagreed with Janeway in Year of Hell, she did still do a very good job in the role in that episode. Like when she finds the Chronoton torpedo,
mm-hmm.
and Tuvok's like, "Stay there, I will arrive shortly," or whatever, and all she says is, "Arrive quickly." It's like, and nobody else but Jerry Ryan could have delivered that line like that. Just
she does menacing very good.
Yes,
very well.
Yes, yeah, she
doesn't sound bitchy. She sounds menacing. It's hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. It's she didn't sound like a bitch. She was like, "You better hurry up."
I think there's also a part of the fact that she's not a small person.
No.
She's pretty tall and pretty wide shouldered, and so she could be imposing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it too, but because she stands over top of Janeway.
True.
They come nose to nose. She's like a half a foot taller than her. So, have we covered everything on this episode?
I think we have.
I think so.
That went by too quickly.
It did.
But an hour.
Next week is the Killing Game, though, and there's a lot in the Killing Game.
Yeah, does that have the predator prey guys? What
the Hirogen?
The Hirogen.
Or as Pincalo calls them, the dinosaur guys.
It's the Hirogen, the Hirogen, and the over there Hirogen. Hirogen, there Hirogen, everywhere Hirogen. Sorry.
It's all good.
It's the first thing I thought of when I heard their name.
Hirogen, there Hirogen.
Anyway.
Everywhere, Rogen.
I have a lot to say about that episode, so that's gonna be involved.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about that episode too.
Skep, have you watched it yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, you gotta.
That's kind of a cool thing that you're watching these as needed. Mm-hmm. I know you're skipping a lot of episodes in between.
Yes, I am.
Skipping everything, but it's good that you're getting these because you're getting a fresh perspective right before the stream. That's a great thing.
I hope so. Some of the folks in chat seem to have some the feeling that I don't belong on the stream. So.
Mm.
Oh, really?
That's cool. That's cool. Opinions are welcome here. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Well, you're gonna know everything there is to know about Voyager anyway, because I'm sure you're gonna catch this stuff.
Yeah, because I'm really starting to like it now.
Yeah, I get the feeling that you're starting to really get into it.
Yeah, there's a few single episodes now that you're liking Voyager more that I think you'll like more than you would have had you not started to like Voyager. If that makes sense.
I think so. I agree with you.
What was the episode with the slipstream ship that supposedly
Hope and Fear?
Yeah.
What was the name of it, Blind?
Hope and Fear. It's the season finale of season 4. And it is a single episode.
Yeah, it is after the next two-parter.
Yes.
The two-parter is like 2/3 of the way into this. This is a 4 seasons, 2/3 of the way in, and then that's
okay.
Yeah. The next two-parter is episodes 18 and 19, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you hit that episode because that's got a lot. It's got a lot of great things in it. A lot of action, a lot of technology, and some humor.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I don't know if we have anything else to say on the Year of Hell. Any last thoughts?
I want to say overall, I think there were too many two-parters in the entire series. Because how many were there in TOS? Like 3 or 4? And this is
4. Yeah,
we're 4 already, right? 4 or 5 already,
right?
And there's like 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, I think there were 4 in the entire original series.
Yeah, and then TNG had 10.
10?
Yeah. Farpoint, and then all the way through to season 3, there weren't any. And then we had Best of Both Worlds, and then we had Redemption, and then we had Reunification, and then we had
Gambit.
Gambit's later. We had Time's Arrow.
Oh,
and then we had Chain of Command. Then we had Birthright. Then we had Descent. Then we had Gambit.
I forgot about all of them.
Then we had and All Good Things.
So maybe I'm wrong then, because it sounds like there was a lot in TNG as well.
And then Voyager has 11.
Only one more. I forgot about all those TNG episodes that were two-parters.
Yeah.
I think most of those could be one-parters anyway. Especially Birthright, man. Come on. That was a fluff piece.
Yeah. It was a bit. Maybe they wanted to give you something less horrifying than Chain of Command.
Awesome.
Somebody in chat said, think about how long Jerry Ryan hid all that stuff with her husband. She must be an amazing actress. I'm not familiar with what happened between her and her husband.
Her first husband?
I think.
Yeah.
That must be what they're talking about.
Her first husband had some sexual proclivities that were kind of on a weird. He's making her into a dominatrix and taking her to sex parties and that kind of stuff.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. But her second husband, the French chef.
Yeah.
Chef Emmy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. Good looking guy. Like a lot of women want that guy.
Well, he's a French chef. Not all the French's food is awful.
She had a little girl with him. This is absolutely adorable.
Well, I think we've covered everything there is to cover. So when's the next show I talked to no one for 8 minutes? Well, that was an accident. I don't generally pull that. That's the Kumate's job to have dead air, not mine. Anyway,
that was my fault.
No, it wasn't. Yesterday, for some reason, when I started streaming, it went onto a different stream than the one that I had started. So I had to stop the stream and redo another one. So I was talking to nobody, like to dead air. It was really weird.
Yelling into the void.
What do you guys... Apparently I'm supposed to ask what your opinions are of proximity tribbles. I don't think you understand the joke. We had
tribbles.
Yes. I was... Stream lore for here is I had a cold and somebody was describing what they do for a job, which involved making proximity badges. But I was doped up on NyQuil and said proximity badgers. And for 2 minutes didn't even realize it until I saw that a whole bunch of people in chat were laughing at me. And I had to stop and think for a second as to why that might be. And then I went, wait a minute. Did I say proximity badgers? So now it's
proximity tribbles because it's Star Trek.
Yes, I think Pincalo came up with that.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Fleet Admiral, I can't pronounce his name, mentions Think Tank.
Think Tank's a great episode.
Yeah.
And Jason Alexander was awesome in that episode.
He was very good in that episode. That's I think that really made the episode. He played the part perfectly.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a couple of great episodes coming up for you, Skep. You're really going to enjoy them.
Looking forward to them.
Yep.
Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you guys aren't busy, be sure to hop over to Minions of the Zoo for 11:30 because it's always a fun time over there. And be sure to tune into The Blind and the Special tomorrow night, where Pincalo's going to describe the end of Bird Box to me for some unknown reason. He wants to torture me some more. No, we had fun last week. It's all good. No, so that'll be tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then be sure to come back on Monday for a coffee stream, 10 a.m. Eastern. And hope you guys have a good weekend. Thank you guys for coming out and listening to us. It's always a fun stream. And thank you to Skep and Hammer for joining me. And tune in next Saturday at 10 p.m. where we talk about The Killing Game. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.